tell us your name like we've never met you before, and in one sentence only, you have to say something motivational to the group. And I'll start. Kathy Fernandez, we are winners.
Come on in, Cecilia.
Sue, grab a chair. Say your name and something
She's
motivational.
trying to think of a
I'm trying to think.
motivational.
Alyssa Bell and Happiness is Home.
Happiness is home. Thank you. I like that.
I like that.
Good for you. Go ahead.
Melanie Jones. We're all going to sell a house when we leave here.
We're all going to sell a house today when we leave?
Today.
Woo! Yay, that's, well, we needed that.
That is really positive. Yeah.
Okay. Elise.
Elise Blue calls, we are the best in the business.
I love it. Let me have that microphone, somebody.
You have to say something motivational after you say your name.
Wait, we'll get to you.
So be thinking.
You gotta be quick on your feet. Trish?
My name is Trish Main, and gratitude. It works when you work it.
Gratitude works. I love it. Thank you, thank you. Go ahead.
Cecilia Nims, and let's do it.
That's smart. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're here, Cecilia.
Chris Hughes, Home State Mortgage, and I'm helping you achieve your dreams.
There you go.
Very cool.
Joan Clark, and real estate is a fun business to be in.
Boy, that is the truth. It is. It's never boring, is it?
Yeah.
Lee?
I'm Lee, feels like spring, which is one of the houses.
Feels like spring out. Should make people want to buy houses. All right.
So you're going to sell one when we leave here.
And a nice, attractive young blonde lady.
Cheryl Kraft, shoot for the moon if you miss it with the stars.
Shoot for the moon if you miss her with the stars. Wow.
Very
Goosebumps.
cool.
We're going to
That
come
was
back and
good.
learn more about you.
Carrie, when you say your name, you've got to say a motivational sentence after it.
For the group. Think
And
fast.
she's handing you the mic because we all did it already.
Think fast. Should never leave the room.
I guess not. Terry Ellis, be positive.
I love it. And drink purple
I like
things,
to do
right?
that, yeah.
That's good.
Okay, go ahead. Lisa?
What was the question?
The question is, you have to say your name and you have to say in one sentence something motivational for the group.
My name is Lisa Staniforth, and attitude is everything.
Yes, isn't this great? Good stuff. Okay, tell us about you. Are you a realtor?
Yeah, I'm just starting.
Okay. How many moments have you had your license?
I got it in November, and then I waited for a month at the beginning of the year. And so,
To get started?
Yeah.
What kind of work did you do before?
I worked in the nightclub bar business.
So you must know a lot of people. Do they have money?
Yep, a lot of them.
Do you have their names and phone numbers and everything?
Yeah, some of them.
So you're gonna send them a notice that you're a realtor, right?
As many of the cards I have.
We have one of our people that come to Trenches that keeps, every time he buys somebody a beer, he sells a house. So there's something to be said for that kind of activity.
Diana Bland in the Valley, she was hired she was a bartender and decided to come to work for us, and literally, they all kind of teased, but she became our top realtor, like rookie of the year the first year, and she does all her business at the bar she used to bartend at. All of her old customers buy houses from her, so that's really cool.
So are you gonna
Yeah.
do real estate full-time or, and will you bartend also or not necessarily?
I'm just doing this full-time for now, and if it doesn't pick up, then back to the bar, but hopefully.
It will pick
I don't
up,
wanna go
the
back,
training
so-
like Teresa and Kathy.
Yeah, we won't let you off the hook. And at the end of our session today, we will get you on a team. Okay, what team should we put her on? Looks like everybody has the same number to,
Well, no, the last one only has 5.
looks like 6 to be.
1, 2, 3, 4, well, that's like 5 to me.
Okay.
Did I have the wrong one?
I have 6 on too.
Oh, maybe, on one of the. Well, she never comes, though.
Well, that's okay. We'll drop her in the next session. Okay, think of a number between 1 and 15.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're on team 1. Yeah, Brad's team. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so are there any success stories? I need just one success story, besides the fact that she came on board.
From the week,
From the week. One. You all look a little tired.
I talked to my first client on the phone.
That is a success story.
Did what?
She talked to her first client. Now, when you say client, is this a friend or somebody that is really looking for a house and wants to sell a house?
Looking for a house, I haven't met the person.
How did you find this person?
And one of the realtors is going on vacation and he came to see some of his leads.
Wow,
That's
Yeah.
that's awesome. So what happens next? You've talked to them, what happens now?
I'm gonna get done with the class and then they're gonna call me back.
Okay.
Yeah. They were busy, I was talking to them and then they said.
So let's help her out. What would be one of the first questions she should ask this new client at the end of this class? Chris,
Are they pre-qualified?
do you know what that means?
90% letter?
You already have a pre-qual letter from these, with these?
No, that's what you're talking about.
That, yeah, and I think we're starting to call that a pre-qualification letter rather than a 90% letter. Is that right, Chris?
Yes.
Kind of what I thought. So it's a pre-qual letter. And is she working with somebody at Home State already? Home State
I haven't
Mortgage?
talked to her about it yet.
Okay, maybe right after the session, if she's not working, we don't know if she has a lender or not, maybe you and Chris could hook up.
Okay.
And what Chris can do for you is learn what this buyer's buying power is and the best loan for this buyer.
Okay.
Then once you learn the buying power, then you sit down with them, and what else does she have to do? What I does she have to dot and T cross does she have to do before she can help this buyer?
An AREC.
An AREC, do we know what that is? Okay. And what's the other thing that I really recommend? Anybody? You all should know this. Buyer's representation agreement, yes. Great, okay, well, that's a great success rate. Terry, you had one too?
I have a new buyer,
A new buyer, where'd it come from, Terry?
Lee from Jimber.
Oh, okay. Jim Murphy is a generous guy.
I met with her and the condo, so I'm in close contact.
Okay, that is a success story. Any field problems, anybody? Okay, Cecilia, how's your business going?
A little on the slow side, but.
Yeah, we're a little slow too. Okay. Did you come today because you love us or because you wanted to hear what Trish had to say?
Because I wanted to hear about the marketing. what
Yeah,
they have
I
to
know,
say,
I know.
so.
And actually, that's
And just
what,
say hello to everyone.
well,
Thank you.
And tell you about my success story is my new listing I got today. Little
Yeah.
3-bedroom condo. You were on tour, it's pretty cute.
where is it? Where is it? Cecilia?
Rusty Allen in Whisperwood.
Oh,
a
yeah, it was
3-bedroom,
in the
1.5
pictures, wasn't
baths,
it?
Yeah.
Now, where did that business come from?
He used to work with my husband,
Okay.
so, and he listed it with someone else who did horrible pictures, so it didn't take much to make me shine compared to the brand X.
So it was on the market before and didn't sell, but it did have great pictures. Okay, all right, good.
I talked to my buyer, she wants to come look at it.
There you
good.
go.
You never know.
No,
There
the
you
new
go.
one?
Yeah.
Oh, sell it today.
Well, that's what she said.
Another success
We're all gonna
story.
sell a house. Terry, if you sell that house today, let's just assume we all did it, then
Yeah.
you get to keep the commission, but we get to think we helped.
Okay, that sounds good.
I went to the YPN, the networking
Oh, yeah.
thing, month or so back, and I won the real estate ad. So somebody let me borrow their listing to put my name on.
Is that a full-page ad?
No, it's just in there, like they have a section
Okay.
in there, and so they have several people listed, but it's in there with my name.
I don't know much about YPN, at least you probably are involved in that, since you're
Young
involved in
Professional
everything.
Network. We split it off. Ava Anderson is running YPN, and I am the chairperson for programs on the Realtor, the Women's Council.
Okay.
And the Women's Council is actually, I highly suggest you guys to join because the referral base is huge. I mean, there's only 30 women who joined and they've already, the realtors in the group have already gotten referrals
From who?
from other women's council around the country. It's
Oh,
a huge
oh.
organization. It's almost like CRS and they only refer to each other. And since we just started the Alaska chapter, the referrals are instant because they need people in
So
Alaska.
these are realtors referring to realtors, so.
Right.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So I have the applications in my office if anybody would like one.
Would you pass
I will
them
see
out?
you.
Yeah,
Okay.
hand them out. Now, the YPN that Ava's running, that makes me think that if you're my age, you can't.
No, you could be a supporter of young people, you could be, even the Women's Council in Las Vegas, Nevada, the Women's Council's chairperson is a man, because all you have to do is be a supporter of women in business, or so you don't have to be a woman to be a part of it.
What,
And the young is you don't have to be young, just a supporter of a young person.
So this is young at heart, young in the business.
Young in mind, yeah.
You can still run around the block, you can join apparently. Okay, cool, all right.
you can dress yourself and show up, you're good.
I would love something Ava Anderson shared with me, and I'm sharing it with everyone because I hope to see this on everybody's, either the bottom of their email or their marketing materials, but I just loved it. Jack White, okay, let me think about it. Jack White, homegrown, locally owned, and internationally known.
I saw that too.
It's really a good saying for Jack White.
like a-
Homegrown, locally owned, and internationally known.
Is this something that's on the bottom of some emails? Is that-
Ava came up with the saying, she already has her tagline for her own branding, and I called her and asked her if I could use it for all the realtors to utilize for Jack White, and I think we're gonna start putting that in our recruiting materials. It's just really cool,
It's
because
very cool.
it
Very
hits,
powerful.
it's powerful and it hits everything, because a lot of people think because we're locally owned, they're not getting the exposure of their properties that they need to be, and adding that in, that shows the leading RE part,
Mhm.
that shows we are global.
Okay, thank you for all of that, guys. Good job. Let's look at the winning teams.
Can I go back to the YPN and the Women's Council? So what are the annual dues on those?
They run around 100 a year.
It's January to January.
Yes.
By the way, Cecilia, would you just tell these nice people how long you've been in business and all of that? She's a very experienced realtor.
I started in 1988, and it's been a great business for me because when my children were young, I didn't have to work as much. I was still active in real estate, but not real active. And it's just such a great career because it's so flexible. When your life changes, your career can change too. It's all what you make it, you know. Work as little as you want, as much as you want. So it's really been fantastic.
Great. Yeah, that's good. That's excellent. And I've been doing it for a long time through children and moves and everything. Okay, let's
You've
look at our
got a
teams.
couple states though under your belt,
I
right?
do, yeah. I started in Anchorage with a full-time job. I started selling real estate at night because I was a single parent and I needed extra income. Then I moved to Texas and sold real estate there for a long time during the foreclosure era, which I learned a lot from that. And then when my husband's job got us back to Alaska, I had enough business in Texas. It took me months to get back up here because I had lots of business to wrap up. Came back and we've been back for at least 15, if not more years, and I've been back in real estate, so a long time. Okay, back to teams. Team number 3 is winning. That is John Wilson's team. Those team members are Lee, Chris, Willie, Elisa, and Carla. And the top point getter, of course, is John Wilson, our poster child for cold calling, with 516 total points, and his cold prospecting calls have been 428 prospect calls. You're not, I wish you could.
I haven't made that many in my whole career.
I don't think anybody has, Cecilia. But it is amazing what he does. Do you know what he does, Cecilia?
What?
He calls from the phone book. He cold calls from the phone
That's
book.
old school, huh?
And he's making money doing it. He's making money. He's doing very, that's why he hasn't been here. He's making money. Okay,
Maybe I should whip out the phone book, huh?
well, start at the back so you don't
He
run
thinks
into
you're
him,
Lorena
okay?
Gonzalez.
Start at the
Right.
We started at
He
8,
started
should go in the middle
hopping her on
somewhere.
it because she was pulling in so much business from it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been amazing. And he's very calm about it. He just makes the call, and if they don't want to talk to him, it's okay. But when they do, he's very professional, very calm, very quiet. He's amazing. But he also has 31 points from name tags and 31 points from business cards. The second highest point getter is Chris with 432 points, 233 points from business cards. Because Chris stays involved in organizations and hands out lots and lots of cards. And you teach also.
I do,
What do you teach?
at Alaska Housing, the first and one of my classes.
And then she has 53 points from prospect calling. So Chris is really moving. Chris, you've been, of course, a underwriter and or processor forever and decided to become a loan. What made you decide to be a loan originator?
Well, I was a loan originator from 93 to 08 in Texas. And then got out of the industry when the foreclosure market hit down there. And then came up here in 2012 and got into processing. so that I could learn the laws of Alaska and the lending programs. And once I learned those, I went into back into originating. I like sales side of it, so.
Well, you're very aggressive. She's very aggressive. So be sure you all hook up after this class so that you can see if you can help her. Okay, that's team one. Team number two is Brad Custer's team with 712 points. That's Brad, Kelly, Kathy, Terry, Vern, and Joan, sorry, Joan. Our top point getters are going to be Brad with 122 business cards he's handed out. He's worn his name tag 35 times. And I'm the second high point getter, 61 business cards, and 35 wore my name tag 35 times. Third place team. Now this session ends April 6th, so we still have over a month, maybe almost 2 months, so the losing team doesn't have to provide something wonderful for the winning other teams. It's mean, it's really mean. Okay, so that team, Sveta's our team leader, Lisa, Daniel, Heather, Melanie, and Dan. High point getter is going to be Melanie with 150 business cards, 66 prospect calls, and Dan's not here today, Santa Claus, 92 business cards and 29, he's worn his name tag 29 times.
He actually went home to cook gumbo. He's cooking gumbo for tomorrow.
Great.
Yeah. Can I make one comment about Chris
Oh,
too?
yeah.
Chris, I noticed a client that was looking to buy a house that had gone to a lender that said she wasn't credit worthy yet. And so I just tried to send her to Chris, and Chris worked on repairing her credit, got her up within 4 weeks to be able to buy a home.
In 4 weeks.
And so I just want to say, don't always take no for an answer. When you send someone to get a loan approved, I mean, of course, if they have a 400 credit line, but if you think that they could be worked with and their credit could improve, I'm not saying bring all the trouble deals to Chris. It was amazing that she was able to take time. But I mean, for her to take her time out of her busy schedule and help to repair a client's credit and get them credit worthy to buy a home, to me is worth $1 million. I mean, it's just, that's the kind of lender you want.
That reminds me of a story that I'm going to share with you all. Working with a very well-qualified young lady who was planning to put about $80,000 to $90,000 down on a new construction condo, and she was working with a lender outside, a brokerage outside of Homestate, another brokerage like Homestate. And the loan originator wasn't communicating as well as our clients would have wanted that to happen. Plus our buyer client, who doesn't speak English real well, she had her adult children out of state get involved in the transaction, start to interview the local the local loan originator. The whole thing started to fall apart. So the kids found an online lender. And we are relegated now to work with this online lender, but the online lender is requiring this buyer to put another $100,000 down. Now, how does that happen? How does that happen? Our buyer is going to do it, but I'm thinking, what a shame.
That is a
It's
shame.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like that.
Yeah.
But we couldn't make the kids back, and of course, we as licensees get in such a tight spot. We have to stay on the side of our borrower, or the borrower will fire us as well. So you ask all kinds of questions, you ask for good faith estimates, so you can compare, help the buyer compare, but at the end of the day, you still have to stay on the same side of your buyer if you still want that deal. And now she's putting another $100,000 down.
I've even done that before, shown 2 good faith estimates, and the buyer look at me and say, what should I do? And I said, oh, well, I would probably go with the person that wasn't trying to burn you in the first place. And then they end up staying there. I don't know what people think sometimes.
Our
when you
buyer
try to
just
point-
kind of gave up.
Yeah.
I'm just so tired of dealing with this. I just want to get the house. And so she gave up, and it's costing her another $100 down. Isn't that just crazy?
She'll have more equity in the place.
Well, that's
You
true.
go Look at the
She
price.
goes
Payment will be less.
Yeah.
Okay, Trish is here. First of all, I've known Trish for a long time. And she, as you might already know, that she's the marketing person at Jack White. And when we learned that the former marketing person was leaving, I was ready to quit because she was really good. But Trish has stepped up to the plate, and we really enjoy working with Trish. The reason I've asked her to be here today is because many times my topic for trenches has everything to do with where my business is at the moment. And we really want to do a lot more work with Trish with respect to home books, just sold cards, just listed cards, and all the things that Trish does. And I thought it'd be awesome if she could tell us what she does and all of that. So Trish, you're on.
Hi, everyone. I'm Trish. So I'm your marketing coordinator here at Jack Real Estate. I'll hand these out. These are the brochures that we developed in order to provide you with additional tools and information regarding what we offer, the services we offer, rather. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't pass on that. Is that enough?
Yeah, that's fine.
So primarily, we offer a few distinct services. We offer business card development, both front and back side, full color, or we have some simple templated examples. When you become a new licensee with Jack White, we have a sample page that we provide, and you can take your picture and insert the appropriate text and contact information that you're looking for. We also can custom design your business card. We can custom design your identity and your brand. And when it comes to marketing, that's what it's all about. You are your brand. It doesn't matter what you're selling yourself. And so in the position of providing marketing tools and equipment and material, I help you identify those selling points about you. Again, we do business cards, and whoops, excuse me, I have a nice array of samples for you to look at. And then we also do these beautiful just sold and just listed cards, postcards. Now these are mailers that can be custom designed to your neighborhood that you're selling in. They can be, if you're interested in a particular neighborhood that you would like to market, we can create a postcard to sell directly or to mail out directly to that neighborhood. We have another licensee who's selling a home on a lake that has a dock for a plane. And so she asked me to put together a mailing list of homeowners around lakes in the same area. We're looking for pilots who are interested in that piece of property. So we also provide you with flyers that pertain to your open home listings, or to your open home showings, rather. And the flyers can be used also when you are, sorry, here. Send it down that way. So the flyers also can be customized for a variety of reasons when you're selling a home or a piece of property. They can be used to illustrate sections of that piece of property to those who are walking through and taking your tour. Provide them with instruction to the piece of property and the amenities that are inside if there's more than you want to display on that one small flyer. And then we also will prepare a home book for you. So I brought this example down. Kathy Johnson has a piece of property that is not yet listed, but she brought me a number of the tools and material that are necessary in order to put together this home book, which provides a vast amount of information regarding that piece of property to whomever might be interested. It's incredibly helpful. We obtain the utility information. There's maps. We show the MLS listing, and there's photos and the financing options. And it can be customized to your piece of property as you so see fit too. It has some established criteria, but all of that is customizable. So in order to, excuse me, and then we also, I wanted to show you, we also have these very simple Jack White Real Estate postcards that can be used in, if you would prefer just to use a simple one as opposed to something custom. Again, it's as you so choose. I'm here to bring your message to life, to help amplify whatever it is that you want to say. about yourself, about your skills, abilities, your piece of property. That's my job. We have a new licensee, for instance, who came to me recently, and he gave me this beautiful mock-up. This is what I'm interested in doing. Drew it out for me. This is what I'm
That
interested in
makes your
saying.
job easy, huh?
Well, it does, absolutely, because I'm not a
What's
mind
the
reader.
arrow through the head?
I know, that's his self-portrait. But he's a new licensee, right? So he's just establishing himself. He hasn't determined, he hasn't found his voice as a licensee. So my job is to help him define himself. We talked about his bio. We talked about what he wants to represent about himself to his clients. What does he want to say? How does he want to present himself and come across? And so in the course of the development of this particular piece, I'll pass that around too so you can take a look. In the course of learning more about him, it's also my job to help him with his logo. So I developed this page. This was just my
Kathy, you're seeing this?
first.
I'm going to interrupt you. When I owned Staffing Solution and I came up with the name and I did everything, I went to a company, I had branded it myself, everything I wanted in there, but I wanted them to come up with different ideas like this. That cost me $2,000.
How much?
So for you to do this at this company for a licensee, a brand new licensee, is a huge benefit.
How much do you charge to do that?
So we charge a minimum of a half an hour based on the job. And we're $30 an hour is our custom design work. A logo will cost an hour, more or less, depending on the logo and how many revisions. This one in particular, on my first out of the chute submission, he loved the bottom one, and that's the one he
That
wants to
bottom
go
one
with.
is really
Buy
nice.
now, Lane Rao.
Yeah,
It's
by now,
catchy.
yeah. Helps you
Yeah,
define how
yeah.
to pronounce his name, which is kind of a challenging name to look at and know how to pronounce. So, so again, our custom work is based on the hour, and for instance, if he hadn't liked any of those, and I had to come up with other options and opportunities for him to look at, you know, it depends on the time that I'm investing in his work. But even at $30 an hour for the development of your brand, it's wonderfully inexpensive. It truly, truly is. And again, my job is to help sell you. It is, and help you define yourself. And so that's what we're going to do as I'm working with Lane. We're going to establish his brand, his identity. And the wonderful part about being new in any business is nothing's written in stone. If you try, it's like a suit. If you try it on for a while and it doesn't seem to work, or you don't get the feedback that you like, you can try something else. You don't have to be married to one concept for the rest of your life. That's the wonderful thing about life. It changes and we're all mutable.
So, Trish, we've got a rate schedule here.
Yes.
Maybe just, let me ask a couple of questions. If I were to have you design a just listed or just sold card, and we would send that out to 250 neighbors around the property, the subject property, your time, the development, counting postage, what would this run?
Let's see, so it's 94 cents per mailing address, so 250, approximately $250 for the postcards, the postage to be mailed.
Okay.
The creation of the postcards is $30. The creation of the mailing list is $15. So
we're at under 300.
under 300.
Under 300.
Yeah.
Right, and if you pick up a listing on a $300,000 home because of this $300 piece of mail, you're probably going to put about another $7,000 in your pocket. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how we look at things.
I picked up 2 listings this year from Just Sold Cards. When I had Garrett to do them for me.
Oh. Well, he's gone.
Yeah, I know.
Garrett's her son. He used to work with her. He used to come to Trenches. I enjoyed him in class because I
Garrett.
kept challenging him. And he would rise to the occasion. And I always challenged him to, you know, you got to be able to do this. And he would say, okay, I'll do it. And he would 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 do if everybody that walk in the open house, ask everybody to buy. And one day I said, Garrett, you can't come back in here unless you've done that. He came back in and he always sat like this. He was like 12 years old. He would sit like this. I said, Garrett, did you ask everybody to buy? He said, yes, I did, and I'm working with somebody now. So it was really cool. So I miss him.
He listens to you, he doesn't listen to me. You know how kids are.
He was afraid of me. I was going to throw him out.
So additionally, as the marketing coordinator here at Jack White, I also provide services to Jack White. So I also work for our administrative department, and I also work for our Alaska Academy of Real Estate. So I create their material to help them produce their training concepts, yeah.
She does our trenches flyers. Yeah. Gets them out the door.
And then there's some really neat aspects too that I'd like to incorporate into our marketing services. We do at this time offer Craigslist postings, and we also will take one of your flyers and mail that out to one of the MLS rosters in your name under your email address. So it's coming from you, even though I'm sending it.
So on the just listed and just sold cards, how do you send them through one of the companies, or how do you send those out? And how long does it take to get a mailing from the time they're ordered?
Sure, we have a service that will print our postcards, put the postage on them, and mail them for us. It takes them, let's see, when I send an order in, I typically get a notice that the postcards will be printed within 2 days, and then they're mailed the next day on first class.
Is it a local company that does it?
They're not local, no. And that's first class postage. Then there's bulk rate, which arrives 7 to 10 days for a little bit less.
So those are 94 cents for postage on those?
Yes.
On the
For
bigger
first
ones?
class, right?
Yeah, for first class, yes.
So, but they could send a bulk rate, right?
Yeah, and the bulk rate is 7 to 10 days. And
But
that's,
you want them sooner, and one way I was getting more bang for the buck is putting on the just listed cards, if you know when you're doing your first open house, listed on the same card.
That's a great idea.
And that way
That
you're
is a
getting
great
like
idea.
2 for 1,
absolutely.
because I'm cheap.
Well, it pays to be creative.
Mhm.
It really does. It just does. Anything that is unique, that nobody else is doing, or few people are doing. You know, I remember seeing an ad about a licensee who, she advertised herself as selling homes 24 hours a day. Why? Because she had a mouse in her hand, and she has a website. And so people can shop with her 24 hours a day. So there's some really unique concepts that you can use. If you are, part of developing your brand is to establish your brand. And that means, in this day and age, it means digitally. It means buyyourown.com. This is my own personal marketing advice. Buyyourown.com. Truly, truly, truly. There's only one of you in the whole wide world, and it's up to you to establish your brand and your tag and how the world is going to see you, no matter where you are and what you do. Your social media profiles across the board should be consistent.
You can always put those links in your Jack White website.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes ma'am, absolutely. And it helps also on your card to have a QR code to lead them towards all of your social media profiles and wherever it is that you are farming your prospects from.
That's a good idea, a QR code
A
on the
QR,
card.
yeah.
What is that?
A QR code, excuse me, I don't even know that I have a sample with me.
There was one out of there. I saw a QR code in one of them.
Here. So a QR code here
Oh, okay.
can be scanned, and this is a digital message that will take a person's phone or their digital device to your website or to your social media.
Yeah, I have a QR code on the
No, I
back
was
of my
gonna show-
card,
I
and
thought I
people
brought
can
my
just,
cell
when
phone
they
down.
scan it, it just pulls all my information right into their contact list.
Yep,
Oh.
yeah,
So
and you can
use-
use these universally and very creatively. Like if you on your Jack White website, if you had a portion, a section that you wanted to devote towards identifying where you get your leads from. You have your QR code on your postcard, right?
And that will lead them back to your Jack White page.
Can you put that like on your business card?
You can put the,
That's what-
Yeah,
yes,
you can put a
absolutely.
QR code anywhere, it just
You
makes
can
you
put
look
it
more
on
techy too.
It does.
Is this one?
Up to date, it just makes you look more
Oh,
techy too.
You could put it on
Okay,
your,
some tacky.
I think it's a great
QR codes are used considerably more so in the UK, in the rest of the world than in America. And
Yeah,
considerably
I've
more
heard
in
of
the United States than in Alaska.
you could put them on your flyers too.
Yes.
So if they're, and I've had some old folks tell me once, they had to be, well, I shouldn't say old because I'm getting there. They were, late 60s, and they said, well, we liked it when we went house shopping and they had the code on the signpost, so you could just look at more pictures of the house.
See, I would have looked at that code and I'm only 45 and
Yeah, I know.
wouldn't think I could do it. I wouldn't know.
That's why I
what
thought,
to do
wow,
with it.
I
I'd be
never-
like scratch and sniff or, that's what it looked like from here. That is a cool barcode.
Yeah, there's some really unique ways of being able to track where you get your referrals from or so on and so forth. So there's a number of really unique ways of being able to do that. But first and foremost is the establishment of you, your brand, your identity, and be consistent.
Where do you go on your phone to scan something?
They have an app called QR codes, and you just,
The hard-
matter of fact, you know what it also helps? You go to a store, you pull something for sale, you scan that barcode, and it tells you
Where to buy it
where you
cheaper.
can buy it cheaper, a block down the road, or
Yeah.
get out.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
same as.
Or whether or
Walmart,
not
local
it
places.
has GMOs in it too.
I use my QR code thing all the time.
Yeah.
It,
It's an app.
when they scan
an
that
app.
QR code.
A lot of people will use them to sell tickets,
It just
too.
pulls it into your contacts.
Never heard
And then
of
you
it.
Yeah.
can choose to save it.
And it's a free app.
I'm downloading it.
But Trish, on your,
So,
Yes.
somebody was showing me today had buyers who bought a home, and they gave them book with all the local information.
You guys use this mic so they can hear you on this class.
Yeah.
People are streaming in, so say it to her and then they can hear you in the, we're
Okay.
streaming.
Should I sing?
Yes.
So, on the home book, I have buyers that are gonna be closing pretty soon. I'd like to give them the book with all the information about their home, information about the neighborhood and schools and things like that. Do you do stuff like that?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's what's
Carrie,
for.
did the listing realtor have a home book in the property?
No.
Okay. Yeah, if they had, many times the listing realtor would just leave the book in the house, but if there wasn't one and you want to have one developed, that'd be a great gift.
That's
Absolutely.
what I was thinking.
And so what do you charge for a home book, Trish?
$45. That's the cost of a home book.
And I think she passed the home book around or.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
To see that, I don't know.
Oh, here it is,
it's
I'm
not
sorry, I'm
passed.
sitting on it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna zoom through that really quick.
And I have to tell you, a lot of our realtors here, Kathy Johnson will not do a listing without a home book prepared for that home. That's probably Kathy's
It
right
is.
there, right?
It is.
She is big about the home book. She says
And
no
the-
one should ever have an open house without a home book in there. She is like really funny about that.
Are you talking about like what I did,
Well,
kinda, what I showed you?
I had one done, I've only had one listed.
But to
I had
give
a
to your
homework done
buyer.
for it. Yeah, and I left it there.
But you're talking about something to give to them after
To
they
the
close,
buyer
like what I
after,
showed,
yeah.
okay.
Yes, yeah.
Cause
Yeah,
I
like
did
what
one
you
and my
did, yeah.
face was all over it. I mean, I put like welcome home and it had,
Nice.
they had done, Berta had done business card labels. They look just like your business card, but it's sticky, and so I stuck it all inside of there, and
Nice.
it had all their information in the back. It had business card, like a sheet protector, but it was business cards. So it had everybody's business card that we did business with.
See, there is so many things you guys have mentioned in this room that isn't here because she does so much special things, like the stickies that look like your business cards. That's a huge one too.
And for 50 cents a sheet, it was worth it.
Yeah.
So Trish, when you develop a home book for Kathy, does she give you all the inside information and you assemble it, or do you do the research like the utilities and everything?
I do the utilities. She did provide some of it, and if she hadn't, then I would have sourced it myself.
Okay.
So how do you know what kind of information you're looking for to include in it? Does she have a set of examples? Do you
There's
have
a
that?
legend.
Yes,
There's a
well,
legend here, Lee.
Yeah, we have-
Photos, tax information, area.
Oh,
numbers,
okay,
all that.
gotcha,
Yeah.
okay.
so there's already an established guideline of what goes into a home book.
Sure.
However, that can be customized and changed as anyone so chose.
See, and I do my own home books, but they're not real organized like that. But they usually have all the information there, but at least it's there, you know, so
Yeah.
anything's better than
How
nothing.
much time do you spend doing your own home book?
Too much. That's why I'm here today.
That's why I wanted Trish here today, so we could be selling houses.
But now that home book is different than what Melanie gave the buyers. Melanie gave her buyers a buyer's home book. Like it had all the receipts from when the
Yeah.
repairs were done in it.
Nice.
It had the settlement statement and the contract and all the paperwork for the transaction.
Yeah, and I put in there like spring, summer, fall, and winter maintenance, home maintenance.
That is so
sheets.
cool. And then you've got your business cards in there, so when they're ready to sell, you're the only person they're gonna call.
My face was like on the very front
Oh, there
too,
you
like
go.
big.
That's a great tool, that is.
Good for you.
But how's it got a calendar?
Don't forget me.
Exactly. So has anybody used Trish yet for anything? You have? Okay.
Well, I have, I use her all the time for any kind of redone.
She helps us with the trenches, and we had her recently do some little mailing labels. We once a month send all of our seller clients copies of all the print advertising we've done and a copy of their flyer. A lot of our clients are out of state, so they get a copy of the flyer, a copy of some of our marketing that we do. And so we've had her customize the return address labels for that type of thing. If you want to keep your seller clients, if you want retention with your seller clients, make sure they know what you're doing. Not just a phone call, but when they get to see the print advertising and the flyers, and then of course, those of you who may not know, MLS, right in the listing itself on MLS, you can print out the hits that the MLS has received for that property. And we print that out and include that in the mail out to all of our sellers, and they get that around the 15th of the month. And it's a great story about that. I've had, and may get it again, a very, very difficult commercial residential property to sell. And we've had this thing on the market for probably cumulatively 3 years over a period of 5 years. And it's just hard to sell, hard to get financed, et cetera, et cetera. And for months, we've been sending the seller all the work that we do to market the property. Well, the kids got involved because they live in the house, and they're going to get some of the money when the property sells. So the kids got involved, and they decided when the listing was due to expire that that dad who owns the property should list with one of their friends. So the friend comes to the house, and our seller client, the dad, is a real grouchy guy, and he had stacks of all the mailings we'd sent all those months for years. And when that poor unsuspecting realtor came to the door to talk about the listing, this dad took this stack of things, he said, will you do this kind of marketing? No, I don't, I wouldn't do that. Then get out of my house, I'm gonna go back and work with Catherine. Because they got to see what we've done. So don't assume they know, you gotta send things to them.
So I had a friend who, when I had told them that I was working with Jack Wine, their retention story was they had purchased a piece of property from one of the Jack White licensees here many, many years ago, like 12, 15 years ago. That licensee kept them on their mailing list. They received a Christmas card every year. And here we are 12 years later, and when they went to go buy their next home, it was because they were consistently kept in the loop. They were constantly remembered and reminded of this particular licensee.
And speaking of that, normally I design and put in my own recruiting pieces, and I was so impressed on my last recruiting piece that you guys received through the MLS. The guys fishing in the boat. Did anyone notice it? No one opened it up? Did y'all opt out of MLS? So anyway, but it was 3 people on a boat saying, I'm contacting my clients while I'm fishing. It was about our new CRM system, because
I've seen that.
at every other company, you have to pay to have, your customer management system, and now we have one that you won't have to pay for. So I use that right away as a recruiting tool. And her piece was amazing. I got 4 recruiting calls the day it went out.
Wow.
Yay. It's good to hear.
Can you do that for me?
Yes, that's the point. That's why I'm here.
Make our phone ring.
So Trish not for Lee, because she's got a whole different purpose on our team, but Trish's services could mean a lack of job security for other people on my team, potentially. I'm kind of kidding. Because she can do these things, and since I have people on payroll, by the time I pay the payroll and the payroll burden, it's probably a lot less costly just to work with Trish.
Lee's going, I don't know.
No, he's not.
He's like, I should have known what that QR code was.
Why does he want to marry me before? Gives up, right? Should take care of me the rest of my life.
Any other comments or questions, or can you see how you could use Trish? Great. Thank you so much, Trish, for coming down and telling us what you do.
Absolutely. Very well.
Your turnaround time seems to be pretty fast as well, I've noticed.
Thank you. I really strive to be. I
Right.
really do.
Yeah, her follow-up is very quick. I've had a lot of comments about that her response time is quick.
So are you liking your job? You haven't been
I
here?
love it.
Good.
I feel very much like a fish out of water, and I feel overwhelmed and very blessed. And I am really enjoying the challenges. I really, truly am. Looking forward to more.
Where did you get your background in this type of work?
Let's see, 2000, my mother was a graphics artist. She was an illustrator and a children's book illustrator and author. And so I started with artwork. I grew up with artwork. And professionally, I moved into being the account executive for the Alaska Wellness magazine in, gosh, that would have been 2001. And I quickly learned many aspects of that business. You don't just, when in a one-man shop, if there's two men, you're doing it all. And then that's what it was. So I learned how to produce that publication and not just sell the advertising, but how to build and how to sell. And that was my initial jump into providing my marketing services. Following that, a couple years later, I met a man who was a musician, and we quickly discovered my penchant for promoting him. And based on that success, that kind of branched out into he and I eventually becoming band managers and event managers, and we had a lot of fun for a number of years providing those types of services. I've built many websites and provided social media networking and marketing, and I've sat on top of organic social media groups of hundreds of thousands of people and learned how to develop those markets and how to retain how to manage that fan base. So it's been very broad, and like any Alaskan, I didn't learn just one thing, I learned all aspects. Again, I just never learned how to say no. I just say yes, and then I figure it out. And if I have to back up later, then I will, but I typically will, I creatively think out of the box, and I love finding solutions. And truthfully, at the end of my day, what really gives me significant pleasure and happiness is helping people find happiness and connecting people to one another. I really, truly enjoy that.
It's
Love
funny
being
that
there.
you should say that, because at the convention for Leading RE, they had a happiness class. And I was surprised, all of the realtors that went there said this was not a typical convention, it was more like a CRS convention, it was more if you want to step up in your game and do more real estate, and to have a whole focus on happiness, because they say people that are happy will be more successful than someone who's not. And so your whole focus around should be happiness, so that is a very good goal.
Well, and it's challenging to wake up every day and just wake up happy. It's challenging to do that. It really is. But you can make up your mind, and you can practice it, and you can practice joy, and you can practice happiness, and smiling helps immensely. It's the universal language of happiness. It just is.
Coffee helps too, doesn't
Coffee.
it?
wine.
Yeah, there's
I was
a,
gonna say, don't
It
forget.
helps put that smile there.
I have a quick question, if you don't mind, Kathy. The co-marketing with Homestay, can we do that through your services as well?
I
On
believe
the
so.
cards and stuff?
I don't know, that's a John question.
Okay,
Okay, I don't know the answer to that question.
okay, I'll find out.
Okay.
How's that?
I actually have a question I was thinking about when I saw all the diversity in the business cards and on and on and on. Does Jack, is there somebody above you that has to give oversight on the card designs?
No, you, if you're ordering it, it's
You.
you.
Okay, because when we first ordered cards with Jack White, they all had to look the same, and I see that that changed like overnight.
No, that changed from day one. They had the choice of using the 5, but cards are not like signs. And Naomi said right out the back, if people have specialty made cards and they like to keep those and brand them that way, they could. So right out the bat, if they didn't have a card and they wanted one of the 5, they could, but otherwise.
What do you mean one of the 5? There were 5
We
options.
have 5 different Jack White main
Standard.
cards.
Standard
cards.
options.
They just made them for me.
You probably didn't, because you probably didn't give them an answer.
We'll go with this. There's one picture, I need some cards.
And then the Jack White
No, they have
logo,
the picture.
the Jack White logo, we have that in a wide variety of formats
Yeah,
and
there's-
colorations too. So it can be customized, your brand, the Jack White logo can be customized to go along with your look and feel of how you
Just
develop your
Ava
identity.
Anderson's colors are like pale pink and pale green. And so it doesn't really go with the Jack White colors at all, but her business card is very much her business.
Well, then you could use the black and silver logo too, because that goes with anything,
Right.
rather than the,
Or the white.
oh, is there a white one?
There
I
is.
guess I've never seen the white one.
Yeah, I do. I think here's an old white one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So is Karen the only transaction coordinator for the whole
Yes.
company?
Yes.
Actually, I have to tell you something about that too. I interviewed the transaction coordinator over at Remax and she only works 4 hours a day. So to have a full-time transaction coordinator is definitely a plus. They don't have one over at KW. So it's interesting to know that. And we are actually talking about cross-training the new kid. So he can be a help to everyone on a backup.
But KW, their teams are so big that each team has their own.
transaction coordinator.
I'm just surprised Karen can keep up. That just seems an
I
overwhelming.
know, because there used to be, what, 3 of them? or-
Yeah.
Didn't there?
And she's so smart too.
No,
Yeah.
you guys are thinking that, but there was always one transaction coordinator and one marketing and one support. Kind of what we have now, except now it's more defined. But it was always that way in that department. That hasn't changed. Because you had Shoshan, at one time you had Jasmine and Esther and, do y'all remember when Esther and Jasmine both worked in the?
No. I don't. They seem to
Esther-
went fast.
Yeah, Esther and Jasmine, her daughter, were both doing the whole transaction one was doing marketing, one was doing transaction coordinating, and then they had another one that was doing the open house ads and stuff.
I'm really stupid. I absolutely don't know what I'm supposed to do with paperwork if I ever am lucky enough to. see
Transaction
anything.
coordinator.
Karen.
And do I like, scenario, I have a buyer, the ARAC, the agreement, blah, 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 all this paperwork. And then what? I go to Karen?
You could,
You
Karen
can,
will, I beg your pardon?
it's your choice.
I could, but she would get the, loan, documents over to you?
Yes.
Or how do I do that?
I think the right thing for you to do, first of all, obviously you're capable of getting a buyer or a seller to sign the ARAC. Is that a correct statement?
Yes.
Okay, all right, beyond that, once you start to build a transaction, whether it's a listing or a sale, just go to Karen and sit down with her and let her handle the whole transaction for you. Your job is to sell, her job is to keep you out of trouble.
But you do need to get your contract to the lender, and if you want to do it yourself through Dot Loop, if you look over any of the copy machines, it has a list of the items that Dot needs. So that would be the brokerage for any file. They used to be paper files, now they're electronic. But it even tells you what order to scan it.
But
And
if,
it's above every copy.
But if you don't wanna do I don't do .lu because I don't know how. That's why Lee has a job. The point is,
That's why I have a job, because I don't live.
Karen can do the .lu for you.
Yes.
Cecilia, don't tell her to .lu, she'll leave.
Well, no, I just said if you wanted to, you know, you could
lost
hire
her dollar.
Karen
Yeah,
or
or
you could
dot
do
it
it
yourself.
yourself. And she said digital there.
Teresa can help
I
you
have
too.
all those file packets of the various forms that I would need if I were selling a condo or listing a condo or a house or a
That is all
income
true.
property.
That's
So
all true.
I get those papers that are in that pamphlet either passed out to the client or signed or filled out by the client. And then when I get that back, I go to Karen and
Yes.
say, here, take my money and the
Well,
one
here's
is
the thing. I also know, because I mean, I remember Jocelyn saying to someone at one time, she's like, I will show you how to do it the first time around, so you know what you're doing. I ain't gonna sit there and do it, you work for you all the time, but if you're new and I show you how to do something, you know, I heard her tell
Well,
others that, you know, she would show them how to do it.
The other thing is you have to realize you're brand new. So when you do your first 6 deals, you're doing them with Teresa completely.
Oh.
Teresa will help you write the offer, the first offer. And Terry can attest to this.
Oh, I didn't know that
You
either.
can go to
So,
Teresa, she oversees the full first 6 deals. If she doesn't
No
want to
matter
pay
what
the
time
money
you guys were doing
for
it.
transaction coordinating, before you have your first listing appointment, Teresa will go over what to say about each form and doc before you even go to the client's office, home with all the documents. So make sure you know you have her as a
And
mentor for
I
you.
did not even know that.
And that's why I need you guys, that's why everybody was jumping in, I was like, but it's a choice. The $300 is if you don't want to learn. If you don't want to learn about doing the paperwork, then you can use Karen as your assistant, and she does everything where she sends the file to the lender, she tells you when your appraisal's set up, she sets up everything for you and calls you like she's your secretary. And she does your paperwork entirely.
But I think everyone should learn
Yes.
to how to do it on their own.
imperative.
And
And
then,
Teresa's
know.
available 7 days a week, 9 to 9.
Oh, but she just kind of seemed like she was just like, oh my God, okay, I've done it, what do I do?
So, I could just call Teresa.
Anytime.
Yeah, I mean, I even know, we had a new person here that all of a sudden at night, it was 8:30 at night, and a client wanted her to write an offer right then. And she panicked and she called Teresa. This lady lived all the way by the airport. Teresa got in her car and spent 2 hours with her at her home, going over how to write that first offer. So, no, I mean, Teresa really takes her job to the next level. And she believes customer service is the most important thing for you. So, I mean, she would be there with you all through the transaction. You won't feel not confident about handling it.
That is I'm so glad you brought that up, because that was just new information, I had no idea.
Is there a class that you take after you get the license that just tells you, I don't know the paperwork, but we didn't go over that before licensing?
She'll do boot camp.
Boot camp and starts in March.
Right now, if you go up on the,
I'm in limbo right now, not knowing anything.
behind the desk, there's a binder. And there's one of the papers in there is if anyone wants a one-on-one class with Jocelyn on what docs need to go into .lube and how to do everything. So you can set up a one-on-one with her on your website design and all of that. She will go over everything with you. So, yeah.
She has,
Okay,
she's doing 101.
What if somebody wants to?
One-on-ones tomorrow, if you want to go, you can sign
All
up
day
at the
tomorrow.
front desk on the second
She's
floor.
full though.
Full.
She's
tired.
full.
One-on-one,
full
yeah.
already.
Oh, she already full?
Okay, well then I will
Well,
go to
Teresa
her and
showed
see
me
and tell her to
.lube.
pick another day. I'll
Yeah.
tell her to pick another day today.
Another day, voice of it.
Oh, yeah, well, it never ends. Training never ends.
or it sounds like she should maybe do a small class.
Well, like
rather
she
than
Well,
all
when
the-
she does classes, only 2 to 3 people show up and then
There's
they
a
feel like
couple
they need a
right here that
one-on-one.
just made
We
it.
actually
Teresa
started
do a
meeting
class
on
around
Saturday
Yeah.
and late at night and showed me how to do .lube.
Yeah.
Because I just hadn't, it was pretty self-explanatory.
There's all kinds of resources here, people.
Yes.
There really is so many resources to tap into, and it's just knowing who to go to, and I have to tell you, for new people, your most go-to person is Teresa.
And it seems.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.